Hello, and welcome to join us on yet another interesting and exciting segment of the newspaper review right here on TAF TV for today, the 25th day of May 2022. My name is Cyril Aloysius, and of course it is my job to bring you the interesting headlines in the papers for today. But shortly before I do that, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, all of the interesting gist in the papers for today will be coming your way. Please do stay tuned. We'll be back after the short break. Don't go away.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Okay, welcome back to join us from that short break. And the first paper we shall be looking at for today is The Nation. Amongst the headlines in The Nation, we have tension in states over PDP, APC governorship primaries. Tension in states over PDP and APC governorship primaries. And next, in The Nation, we have 2.9 billion naira fraud. EFCC whisk away Okorocha after hours of shutdown. 2.9 billion naira fraud. EFCC whisk away Okorocha after hours of shutdown. Okay, and next in The Nation, we have inflation pushes up interest rates to 13.5%. Inflation pushes up interest rates to 13.5%. And next in The Nation, we have bigwigs win more PDP Senate tickets. Bigwigs win more PDP Senate tickets. Malaye, La, others lose. Governors triumph. That's on page 5 and page 28 of The Nation. And on page 3 of The Nation, we have JAMB remitted 27.2 billion naira in 5 years, says registrar. JAMB remitted 27.2 billion naira in 5 years, says registrar, on page 3 of The Nation. And lastly, in The Nation, we have here on page 5, this one here says, government to settle varsity poly teachers pay with 34 billion naira. Government to settle varsity and poly teachers pay with 34 billion naira. Okay, that's the much we can take in The Nation for today. Taking you straight now to our next paper for today, we shall be looking at The Punch. And amongst the headlines in The Punch, we have here APC governorship ticket. APC governorship ticket. Aggrieved aspirants seek direct primary. Alleged governors hijack delegate lists. Aggrieved aspirants seek direct primary. Alleged governors hijack delegate lists. That's on page 2 of The Punch. And on page 4 and 5 of The Punch, we have Lagos teacher flogs pupil over homework. Victim vomits and dies. Lagos teacher flogs pupil over homework. Victim vomits and dies. That's on page 4 and 5. And on page 3 of The Punch, we have my mother-in-law lost a daughter last year. That's wife, according to wife of sound engineer killed in Lekki. Says my mother-in-law lost a daughter last year. That's according to the wife of sound engineer killed in Lekki. That's Lagos. That's a very sad one. And on page 11, we have aspirants hopeful as PDP holds governors primaries today. That's on page 11 of The Punch. And on page 7 of The Punch, we have Buhari backed Osibanjo on Daura's removal. Vice President, not a religious bigot, as alleged, according to Ajulo. That's on page 7. And next we have in the Punch, this one here says 51 million phone owners lack NIN. 51 million phone owners lack NIN, barred from making calls, according to report on page 20 of the Punch. And lastly, in the Punch for today, we have on page 13, Jonathan meets Buhari's nephew. Jonathan meets Buhari's nephew, Mamam Daura, amid presidential bid. Jonathan meets Buhari's nephew, Mamam Daura, amid presidential bid. Okay, that's the much we can take in the Punch for today. You want more details on those headlines, do get a copy of the Punch for yourself. And the last paper which I'll be looking at for today is the Daily Sun. And amongst the headlines in the Daily Sun, we have here, Osibanjo, Amechi intensify lobby for APC ticket. Osibanjo, Amechi intensify lobby for APC ticket on page 27 of the Daily Sun. And on page 6 of the Daily Sun, we have PDP presidential primary. PDP presidential primary. Saraki Atiku, Muhammad, Wike Obi are top runners. Margin of victory looks slim. Anyim pushes forward. Elders intensify push for consensus candidates. That's on page 6 of the Daily Sun. And next, in page 5 in Daily Sun, we have EFCC operatives lay siege. Arrest Okorocha ex-Imo governor in Abuja. Vow to prosecute him. I go again. EFCC operatives lay siege. Arrest Okorocha ex-Imo governor in Abuja. Vow to prosecute him. That's on page 5 of the Daily Sun. And next in Daily Sun we have ASU. Polytechnic lecturers, others to get 34 billion naira minimum wage arrears, according to federal government. That's on page 7. And next on page 26 and 27, we have Ugwani Namani win PDP senatorial tickets in Enugu. Ugwani Namani win PDP senatorial tickets in Enugu. And lastly, in Daily Sun, we have on page 26, Kanu condemns killings in Southeast. Kanu condemns killings in Southeast. IPOB vows to deliver hoodlums beheading residents to Soludo. Exonerates self, according to page 26 of the Daily Sun. Okay, that's the much we can take in the Daily Sun and in the papers for today. Thank you so much for staying there. But it's time for us to move over to our discussion segment, a segment where we shall be talking on some of the interesting headlines in the papers for today. But shortly before we do that, we'll go on a quick break. And when we come back, we'll take you straight to our discussions for today. Please do stay tuned. We'll be back after the short break. Don't go away.
Have you registered for your permanent voter's card? I mean, your PVC. There is a Nigeria we all seek, a place where love, peace, security, and unity can reign supreme.
Waste no time. We want a country where peace and justice will be the order of the day.
Unfortunately, there's a problem. One big challenge this generation has to solve.
Our country cries for help every day. We need able and capable hands to lead and direct.
These capable hands can be you. Have you gotten your PVC? Have you registered for the ongoing voting process? Don't say your vote does not count. Yes, it does.
Have you gotten your PVC? Your apathy towards Nigeria's electioneering process will further inhibit our collective growth and development as a nation. Your refusal to participate and engage will keep us at a standstill. So be intentional.
I have my PVC. Your votes, your voice would go a long way in preventing absolute destruction of this country and the future of our children, the hope of tomorrow.
The 2023 Nigerian elections are just around the corner. Go out and get heard. Don't forget, your vote, your voice.
This message is proudly brought to you by Thav Media Limited. Okay, you're welcome back to join us from that short break. And joining me in today's discussion segment is Mr. Grant Woruka. Mr. Grant Woruka, you're welcome to join us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
All right. Mr. Grant, let's go straight to the business of the day. I'd like to know your take on the aggrieved aspirants who are seeking direct primaries and alleged governors hijacking of delegate lists. So what's your take on that?
Okay, so it's very interesting when we get to the political season because it's usually my most favorite period of okay, it happens every 4 years, so I can't say favorite period of the year, but it's usually an interesting period because there is drama in virtually every quarters. Okay, now, given the fact that there was an error in the Electoral Act, it seems the major part, all the parties are going to be adopting ad hoc delegates rather than having both ad hoc and statutory delegates. So it's a normal thing now in our political parlance. Yes, our democracy is still growing and there's still a lot of things that we need to put in place. But it's a normal thing that the major figures in every state usually tend to dictate how the election and how the electioneering process in that particular state is going to run. So I don't know, but I feel like the persons that are crying out about this, it should be something more along the line of negotiation rather than wanting to push and have your way. Because now, let me put it this way: you don't exactly expect that the leader of a party in a state is going to be there, and his wishes, because everybody in this world has some kind of selfish interest. So you expect that individual to be there, and somehow some other forces will hijack the structure of the party. They want to exert the dominance of the party. They want to ensure that everything is run in a way that their own will and their own interest is protected. Okay. Now, so the aspirants that are crying out, I doubt if the party at the center will be able to achieve anything on that. Because, yes, now that's the thing. The delegate, the process of electing the delegates, so far, I don't think there are any issues. Because after the election of the delegates, there was this brief period where they did a lot of analysis of, okay, if the process was sincere and all of that. And there were no issues that came over there. So even if you're saying that the governors and maybe some major figures now in the party, they've hijacked the delegate list, what do you expect the party to do? Because at this particular point, there's nothing you can do about it. Already, most parties are walking a very tight rope. The deadline for everything primaries is the 3rd of June. So do you expect that, what do you expect to be done? And you can't exactly go for direct primaries. It's not practical. I say that because of this. For instance, I know Rivers State is one of the states where they are clamoring for, a section of the persons in the party are clamoring for direct primaries. Now, if you go ahead to push for direct primaries, how well does the party have what it takes to conduct direct primaries? Because it means you tell everybody to go to their ward and elect delegates. So it's like you're conducting a general election. So does the party have what it takes to handle that? Okay. In terms of security, in terms of manpower, in terms of the overall logistics, does the party have what it takes to achieve that? So I don't know. But now, unfortunately, that is exactly where we are in our political process.
If they do have what it takes?
If they do have what it takes, then another thing we have to consider is the time. Because already, the APC governorship primary is slated for tomorrow, which is the 26th of May. So you're crying about this now. When do you expect all of this the logistics to be put in place for you to have a direct primaries by tomorrow? So you look at it. I know that for an event as widespread or of a scale as that, you need a very good number of security forces, like the policemen now, to be available to ensure that nobody comes to snatch ballot boxes and all of those things. So how do you go about putting all those things in place? And especially in the state like Rivers State where the APC, because that's basically APC persons now, the outcry is coming from the APC. In a state like Rivers State where APC is an opposition, how do you go ahead to galvanize all of this to ensure that you have a direct primary? So personally, I don't think it's practical at this point. And I feel those that group persons should move along the lines of negotiation.
It's achievable.
I don't think it's achievable at this particular point. Probably they should have gone for that a long time ago. They should have made a case to the national, the national leadership of your party a long time ago. So that would have been considered, not in a situation where already delegates have been elected and you're expecting the party to just jettison the delegates and go ahead. No, that's not. Now, and that reminds me of something now. I know this is basically on the APC, but let me move a bit into PDP. Yesterday, the governor of the state, River State, Barrister Ezenwo-Wike, he announced the dissolution of his cabinet. And a lot of persons are speculating that the reason he went ahead to dissolve the candidate is because he's trying to ensure that all the persons in the cabinet that are going to be delegates that will be involved in the primaries, and the PDP primaries, by the way, is today, 25th of May, that all the persons that are going to be part of the primaries, that they will have to leave office. Because, of course, we understand the whole adjustment or amendment now to the Electoral Act that says if you are a political appointee, you absolutely you have to resign for you to participate in party primaries and all of that. So imagine a situation like that, because he is now trying to ensure that everything is done properly in his own domain so that he doesn't have any issue. I'm only bringing that as some kind of instance now to show you that everybody is trying to put your house in order. So you can't be expecting that at a time as critical as this, when the PDP, the governor of the state is ensuring that everything is dotting all his I's and crossing all his T's to ensure that the PDP has a proper house. He went to the point of dissolving his cabinet. That's the speculation, though. We don't know if that's exactly, but I believe that that's part of it. Dissolving his cabinet to ensure that everything runs hitch-free. Then you're not expecting that the APC should go the other route, creating room for chaos. And no, I don't think it's practical. I believe that if they had concerns, if they suspected that that was going to be the case, there was going to be some kind of hijack, they would have appealed, they would have made a move, they would have pushed a long time ago to ensure that those states that the outcry are coming from, like they go for the direct primaries rather than indirect primaries.
Okay, Mr. Grant, let's not spend much time on that particular headline. Let's hear your take on EFCC breaking into Okorocha's Abuja residence, arresting him after a 7-hour siege.
Okay, that's one funny and at the same time very interesting issue that came up yesterday.
Yes, I think
so,
it happened yesterday.
Yes. Okay, so the EFCC said, because when the whole thing started, when I read about it for the first time, I wanted to be sure of what was going on. Because most times, if you get things from just one perspective and you decide to run with it, of course, you know that's not balanced. You won't have a balanced analysis of the whole thing. So I waited to hear from EFCC. And EFCC said that they had actually charged him and he's been missing his court dates. And remember, sometime back, he got some kind of injunction from the a court in Abuja. Is it Abuja now? I can't remember. But I know he got an injunction barring EFCC from going ahead with this prosecution. Then he also visited the president, telling the president that he's been harassed by EFCC. But now, from EFCC perspective, they say that he's been charged and that he has been missing his court dates. And that the trial judge has already threatened that if EFCC doesn't produce him, that the case is going to be struck out. Mind you, some days back, the top man at EFCC, he came out and he was appealing to judges, telling them that it is demoralizing that EFCC goes ahead to investigate cases and charge these people, and those cases are struck out on technicalities. That after going through processes like that, and nothing comes out of it, that it actually kills the morale of the operatives. So going ahead to ensure that he appears in court, it's not exactly, I wouldn't see that as something wrong. However, I will want to say that the way that they went about it could have been handled better.
How?
Now the thing is, this is political. This is the era of politics.
Because you just said now that he has been missing his court date.
True.
And the EFCC has been mandated to provide him in
court.
Or else
True.
the case will be struck off. So I honestly see no other means the EFCC could have used to bring him, because
no, but
it's obvious that he would have kept on missing the date.
Let's look at it from this angle now. This is a period where politics dominates the narrative or the discourse in virtually every facet. Now, going ahead to make a show of that nature, and you see, of course, you know, like we're in an era where everything that happens gets recorded and is put out there. So going to make a show of that nature where the EFCC operatives were at his compound and they forced themselves into this, like there was this image I saw where I think they went through the roof or something,
yes.
I don't know. So they forced themselves. Now that is going to get a lot of tongues wagging.
Okay.
It's going to feel like EFCC is trying to rubbish his image. EFCC is trying to, somebody somewhere is orchestrating all of this.
He left them with no
No,
choice.
but the thing is, there is still, even when you're trying to do the right thing, you have to be tactical about it. So you don't, so you don't.
How tactical do you think the EFCC could
I
have gone
feel,
about this
I feel,
to avoid such a scenario?
I feel, okay, I'm sure they have their warrants.
Because sincerely, I feel like that was the only option. That was the only option.
I feel, I'm sure they have their warrants, and I'm sure all the court dates, the papers must have been served him, and he chose not to show up. EFCC could have easily monitored him. Now, in foreign countries, I don't know, they do it here in Nigeria, but maybe not the same, not the way that it's done in foreign. There is something called proper surveillance. Sometimes you survey a particular person and make sure that you pick up the person at the most convenient spot. A place where it's not going to raise too much issues, it's not going to raise too much dust, and you're not going to put your operatives in harm's way, and you're also not going to put the particular person in harm's way. So I feel like EFCC could have put him under surveillance, monitor his movement to make sure that when he's picked up, exactly, it's not going to be one where he's going to crazy and all. So, I feel,
you have a point, but then I still feel like there are a lot of persons who would actually disagree to what you are saying, because if according to you, dates have been fixed for him to appear in court and he has been missing them, it now goes a long way to tell you that these moves have been intentional, and only God knows if he wouldn't have continued missing dates if they had kept on fixing dates. Do you understand?
I understand.
So there are a lot of persons right now who disagree to
no.
what you're saying.
I get all of that. Like I started this conversation by saying that, of course, EFCC is within her rights to go ahead and ensure that he's provided in court.
Yeah.
But the thing now is, I'm only saying that they should have been more tactical about it so that it doesn't rubbish the good work there. Because when you're trying to do the right thing, and it now looks like you're creating a public show
of it.
There are a lot of persons that will feel like, this is just a political witch hunt. This is just a way of trying to
after all, there are some politicians who deserve
they're running free. And also, mind you, he's a presidential aspirant. So some persons will be like, who knows if this is somebody up there that is trying to. So those are just they could have done it in a way to eliminate all of this things so that it doesn't rubbish the good work that EFCC is trying to do. Okay. Nigeria is plagued with the issue of corruption. So everybody needs to support the agencies now that are out there to fight corruption. Okay. But for that support to be given, the agencies have to try also to ensure that they go about their duties in a way that it's not going to create any dust. So I'm just saying, in whatever we're doing, let's avoid those dust so that everything will be done in a way where EFCC is going to be given the proper thumbs up, and nobody's going to feel like, somebody's being victimized because of this particular reason or because of that some other reason. That's basically the angle I'm coming from.
Okay, so there could have been other ways to go about this.
I feel, yes.
Okay, those are the words of Mr. Grant. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. But shortly before we call it a day, there's a particular headline in the papers for today making waves. I would like to know your thoughts on it, about a certain pupil in Lagos who was flogged for not doing his assignment, and he vomited, according to the news, and he died in the process. So I don't know what's your take.
That's a sad one. That's a sad one.
It's a really sad
one. But this brings to mind a very bad practice we have here in Nigeria. A practice where people die and nobody cares to carry out autopsy to determine the actual cause of death before going ahead. So now the gist out there is that the pupil was flogged and started vomiting and rushed to the hospital and eventually died.
The boy who died in a boarding school recently that was killed by his
allegedly killed
by his fellow students, I think through poisoning and beating as well. I think from reports, they said an autopsy was done on him, and they got to find out that he actually was forced to drink some chemical.
So that is the thing, like that is what we should be doing. Because why I'm bringing up the issue of autopsy now is we can be, without an autopsy, we can be 100% certain what the cause of death is. So it could be that this particular pupil was sick.
Before.
Even if the dad said that, oh, my child was healthy when he left the house, rather, like, and all of that. Of course, no parent will want to.
The autopsy will confirm
so
whether
that
or
is
not
the thing,
true.
whether that is the case or not.
Okay.
We will now be able to know, okay, is it that when the child was flogged, it triggered or it exacerbated the whatever underlying condition that was there before the flogging and all of that. So we just need to, there has to be an autopsy, and that is something that we really need to encourage. When things happen in questionable circumstances, don't just go ahead and run into assumptions. Let the medical professionals actually give us the verdict on that particular matter before we go ahead to run with it. All of that being said, I do not subscribe to the idea of physically beating a child as some kind of disciplinary.
Why?
I
You
do
think
not
it's wrong?
exactly. I feel like if we invest our time in the proper research, psychological research, now to understand behavioral patterns and how to really reinforce certain kind of behavior and discourage certain kind of behavior and all of that, I am sure we'll be able to come up with better ways of... Because the thing with children is this.
Come on, Mr. Grant.
No, the thing with children is this. There are certain things that if you study a child, there are certain things that this child is very... the child sees as very important. Now, if you want to discourage a particular behavior, what you threaten the child with, okay, maybe for instance, if it's a child that plays video games, and you allot a particular period of time to playing of video games to the child, you see that when the child misbehaves and you threaten the child with the fact that, oh, okay, for the next 1 week you're not going to play, you see that gets to the child. Look at what happens in foreign countries where they say you're grounded. The child misbehaves, they say you're grounded. No mobile phones, no television, and all those things. Stay in your room. You're not going out. You're not playing with friends. So I feel like there are other strategies rather than physically beating. Because most times you beat this child, and what gets into the mind of the child is that, oh, okay, you've got ahead to flog me at this particular time. Let me see if that's it. So I don't know, but I just feel like there are better ways if we invest our time in the proper research. We'll come up with better strategies of disciplining children rather than flogging them. Because I don't think, personally, with what's happening in our world, I don't think beating children is going to achieve the proper disciplinary measure.
Mr. Grant, don't you think, based on history, especially in this part of the world where our parents then didn't take nonsense from us, and most of us, especially me, were beaten.
I was beaten also, so exactly.
We are not dead now.
True, we're not dead.
I get you have a point. But personally, I don't know. Don't you think that it should be that parents should actually study their children and know the pattern or the type of disciplinary measure that works on his or her child?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
If it is beating that will work, use beating.
I feel like there are still other measures to take.
Let
me point out two things. A friend making a joke said, okay, yeah, they say that the reason why we turned out good or the reason why we were like this and all of that is because we were beaten while we were growing up.
Yeah.
That in foreign countries where they beat the children while they were growing up, are they not going ahead to being the ones that are leading innovations and all of those things? So are they not doing better? Are they not impacting the world better than? That's on a lighter note, though. But here's the thing now. Here's what I'm going to really hammer on. First of all, okay, I've noted the fact that I really do not subscribe to the idea of beating a child. Now, taking it to the next level, I even feel like beating a child, flogging a child in a school, that should not be encouraged. Because the thing is, you're not, I'm a parent. I pay the school to train this child academically. Yes, the school is also supposed to mold the character of the child. But I do not give you the permission to go ahead and beat my child for me. No. If you feel that my child is too unruly for your system, then you expel my child. You push my child out of your system and tell me that no, with the kind of behavior your child exhibits, this is not a place for your child. I did not give you the right to go ahead to do that. No, but
Mr.
that
Grant,
is something that I don't think is accepted.
If we actually stress on this particular
Acceptable,
topic,
rather.
I feel like we'll take the whole day on this. Well, please, this is where we have to call it a wrap.
So please, let me just
Yes.
highlight this very clearly. I am not against discipline. No. But I just feel like wanting to flog a child is just a very lazy approach to discipline. If you, like you say, take your time, study the child, it mustn't be beating the child.
Okay.
There are things you will come up with better strategies that will modify behavior. Trust me, there are ways that you address the issue of discipline and behavior will be modified. It doesn't have to be physically beating the child.
Okay, Mr. Grant, thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
sharing your
too.
thoughts with us from this particular headlines. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate your time on the show today. And as for you who has been faithful to us, faithful to your screen, thank you so much. Without you, we would not be here. And this is Staff TV once again, and this is where we have to call it a wrap on today's segment of the newspaper review. Please do want to subscribe to our YouTube, our channels. On YouTube, we are Staff TV. On Instagram, we are Staff TV_NG. On Facebook, we are Staff TV. And on Twitter, we are at Staff TV. My name remains Cyril Aloysius. Until I come your way again next time, do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.